Hey Steelers Nation! Welcome back to the channel, where we cover everything black and gold. The Pittsburgh Steelers are on a relentless mission to perfect their craft and get back to being a dominant force in the NFL. With the trade deadline behind us, many fans were hoping for a major move to bolster our receiving core. We saw big names like Davante Adams and DeAndre Hopkins floating around, but when the dust settled, the Steelers came up empty-handed. But don't worry, it's not over yet. There's still hope, and today we're diving into why Mike Williams from the New York Jets could still be in play. Before we get started, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to stay in the loop with all things Steelers. Let's get into it. The hunt for a reliable wide receiver has been on the minds of Steelers fans and management alike. With our current offensive strategy, it's no secret that we need more firepower in the receiving game to complement our talented core. We were on the lookout for a big-name wideout ahead of the November 5th trade deadline, but unfortunately, the big fish slipped through our nets. Yet, there's one receiver who has been on our radar for some time and might just still be in reach: Mike Williams. Jeremy Fowler, a reputable ESPN NFL insider, recently dropped an intriguing report. According to him, the New York Jets are considering parting ways with Williams. This is where it gets interesting, though. The situation is complicated by an injury to Allen Lazard. Lazard's placement on the injured reserve list with a chest injury has thrown a wrench into the Jets' decision-making process, making a potential deal with Pittsburgh a bit more challenging. The Jets are now in an interesting position with wideout Mike Williams due to Thursday night's win and Allen Lazard's injury, which landed him on injured reserve, chest. They might keep Williams as their third receiver or turn to someone like Jason Brownlee. The sources I spoke with believe there's still a chance he stays, which didn't seem likely a few weeks ago. Pittsburgh remains a strong contender here. The Steelers want receiver help. Whether they get it from New York or elsewhere could determine Williams' fate. Earlier this week, Fowler noted that if the Jets were to lose to the Houston Texans in their Thursday night football matchup, Williams would likely stay in New York as an essential part of their offense. However, the Jets pulled off a 21-13 victory, a game in which Williams played 71% of the team's snaps, tying his season high for participation in a single game. But here's the kicker: despite the heavy workload, he only managed one catch for 6 yards. Statistically, it's been a slow year for Williams. Across 9 games, he's posted 12 receptions for 166 yards. Not the kind of numbers that make you jump out of your seat, but let's not forget the context here. Williams has the potential to be much more productive in the right system, and that's where Pittsburgh comes in. The Steelers' pursuit of Williams didn't start last week or even last month, it goes back to the offseason. Back then, Williams visited Pittsburgh before ultimately choosing to sign a 1-year, $10 million deal with the Jets. That choice stung for some fans, but it also laid the groundwork for a potential trade if circumstances aligned later in the season. Now, with the Jets' season being a roller coaster and injuries reshaping their roster, the time might be ripe for Pittsburgh to make another push. The question is, why Williams? For one, he's a seasoned veteran with 8 years of NFL experience. His size, route running, and ability to make contested catches could add a much-needed dynamic to the Steelers' receiving lineup. If paired with guys like Deontay Johnson and George Pickens, Williams could be the versatile piece that opens up the field for everyone. A deal for Williams would likely involve a mid-to-late round draft pick, nothing that would mortgage the future but enough to entice the Jets to make the move. Of course, the main variable here is how desperate the Steelers are to get another playmaker and how much leverage the Jets think they have. The Steelers are well-positioned with cap space and a strong standing in the AFC North. At 6-2, we're leading the division and eyeing a deep playoff run. Adding a reliable target like Williams could be the spark that pushes our offense to the next level. As we head into the second half of the season, the Steelers have a solid foundation but room for growth. We're welcoming back key players from injury and trying to perfect the game plan as the schedule tightens. It's all part of a 6-part strategy to make the latter half of the season as strong as possible. And yes, securing Williams could be a major component of that plan. Here's how things could unfold for the perfect finish. 1. Integrating new talent. Bringing in Williams or another capable receiver would diversify our playbook. 2. Strengthening the offense. Adding a veteran presence can open up plays for other key offensive weapons. 3. Maximizing Kenny Pickett's potential. More receiving options mean more opportunities for our young QB to develop. 4. Upping the defensive game. Ensuring the offense can sustain drives gives our defense more time to rest and strategize. 5. Balancing snap counts, allowing other wideouts to rotate and stay fresh during critical games. 6. Building confidence for the playoffs. This move would signal to the team and fans alike that Pittsburgh is all in this season. This isn't just about stats or names on a roster. It's about watching a team that's making smart, strategic moves to stay competitive in a league where even the smallest edge can mean the difference between a playoff run and an early exit. The Steelers' front office has shown that they are willing to make changes, and Williams could be a crucial piece in that puzzle. It's not often that we see a beloved player like Deontay Johnson switching sides, especially to a divisional rival. In what came as a shock to many fans, the Carolina Panthers recently pulled off a trade that sent the former Steelers wide receiver to the Baltimore Ravens. This move not only shakes up the dynamic of the AFC North but also sets the stage for some intense matchups in the coming weeks. In a press conference earlier this week, Ravens head coach John Harbaugh confirmed that Johnson is expected to be game-ready soon. That timeline sets up a potential debut against none other than his former team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, in just 2 weeks at Acrisure Stadium. It's a storyline that writes itself, a player once adored in Pittsburgh now coming back wearing enemy colors. You can bet that all eyes will be on him when he steps onto that field. The reaction to the trade has been mixed, but perhaps the most interesting insight came from Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. Jackson shared his honest opinion on Johnson during a press conference, and let's just say, it's exactly what you'd expect from a fierce competitor. "I didn't like him when he was with Pittsburgh," Jackson admitted, cracking a half smile. "But his game is something else. Great separation, fantastic route running, he's a home run hitter." Hearing Jackson speak so candidly about Johnson is revealing. It's not every day that a quarterback openly admits that he couldn't stand a player before they joined forces. But Jackson's respect for Johnson's skills is palpable. It's easy to see why he'd be excited. Johnson's reputation as a top-tier route runner and his ability to find open spaces in the defense have made him a formidable opponent. Over the course of his career, Johnson has racked up 495 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns in 9 games against Baltimore, a testament to his effectiveness against tough defenses. Baltimore's offense has been potent this season, but not without its hiccups. One of the glaring issues has been the inconsistency among their wide receivers. In their Week 8 matchup against the Cleveland Browns, the Ravens fell short, in part due to a costly drop by Rashad Bateman. Bateman lost sight of a deep pass in the sun on a crucial 3rd and long, effectively halting Baltimore's comeback hopes. Enter Deontay Johnson. While he's had his share of drop issues during his time with the Steelers, those concerns seem to have faded during his stint with the Panthers. If the Ravens can harness Johnson's improved reliability and capitalize on his exceptional route running, he could be the solution they've been looking for. Jackson certainly believes so, and for good reason. Now, let's talk about what this means for the Steelers when Johnson returns to Pittsburgh in a Ravens jersey. Our defense has stepped up in a big way this season, with Beanie Bishop and Joey Porter Jr. making significant contributions. Compared to last year, this unit is playing with a level of confidence and aggression that should give fans hope heading into the Week 11 showdown. Porter Jr., in particular, has been a revelation. His ability to lock down receivers and his instinctual play have made him a cornerstone of the secondary. And while Johnson is a familiar face, it's going to be fascinating to see how our defensive backs prepare for his return. Will the knowledge of his tendencies give Pittsburgh an edge? Or will Johnson's familiarity with our defense prove to be a game-changer for Baltimore? The matchup between the Steelers and Ravens is always a must-watch, but this time, the stakes feel even higher. Week 11 will be the first time Johnson faces his old team, and the added drama of a former Steelers standout trying to prove himself against his old squad will be palpable. But Steelers Nation, don't forget, this isn't the last time these two teams will meet this season. They'll clash again in Week 16 at M&T Bank Stadium, where the playoff implications could be massive. What should we expect in these matchups? For starters, you can bet that Mike Tomlin and the coaching staff are already game planning for how to neutralize Johnson's impact. The Steelers know firsthand what he's capable of, so expect a mix of aggressive coverage schemes and strategic blitzes designed to keep Jackson from connecting with his new target. But it's not just about stopping Johnson. The Ravens have multiple weapons, and keeping them in check requires a full team effort. The pressure on our pass rush to get to Jackson and force him into quick decisions will be crucial. The good news? With TJ Watt leading the charge, this Steelers defense is more than capable of wreaking havoc in the backfield. While our defense prepares for the challenge, the Steelers' offense will need to step up as well. With Johnson now gone, the focus shifts to players like George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, and emerging talents like Calvin Austin III. These players will need to capitalize on their opportunities to keep Pittsburgh's offense balanced and effective. Kenny Pickett, our young quarterback, has shown flashes of brilliance but will need to be at his best to outgun Jackson and the Ravens. The chemistry between Pickett and his remaining receivers, coupled with a strong showing from the running game, could be the difference maker. Steelers Nation, what do you think? Is Mike Williams the answer to our receiving needs, or should we look elsewhere? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We're curious to hear if you think this move could propel us to the next level or if we're better off sticking with our current roster. Before you go, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more Steelers content. We've got more news, updates, and analysis coming your way, so make sure you're part of the conversation. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Steelers!